All right, so Monday morning and news of the day type thing. Some items I was following over the weekend. I actually started up a board and they went, I'm not doing that. Because I didn't feel like there was enough there for me to do a video on, and then I ended up doing the buyout video instead. There's rumors coming out that Taylor Hall doesn't want to sign an extension in New Jersey. He's not even eligible to sign an extension until July 1st. So it's begun. The whole, is he going to stay? Is he not? Look, if they draft Jack Hughes or Kako, whoever they draft, and if Taylor Hall is healthy and Nico Hischier ready to take that next step, the Devils are going to be a very good team in the fall. The only area that may fall them might end up being goaltending, but Schneider is capable of a bounce back as well. And Taylor Hall will want to stay there if they're winning. So it very well may be, you know what? Right now, I don't want to talk about it. That may very well be what it is because we don't know what's going on. But get ready for it to turn into, okay, here's proposed deals, here's rumors, here's this, here's that. It's going to probably go that route. And then watch him just re-sign in New Jersey anyways. Is Marleau going to Arizona? So Patrick Marleau and the Leafs have apparently agreed to go their separate ways. This isn't just the fact that the Leafs want to free up some cap space, although I'm sure they do. It's that Marleau reportedly wants to be on the West Coast, his family on the West Coast, and all that stuff. So LA has been rumored for that reason, primarily. Arizona's on the list as well. I know people would like to see a reunion in San Jose, but unless there's a lot of salary retained by Toronto, I don't see how that works. And I don't know, Anaheim? Would he consider Anaheim? I know, if you're a Sharks fan, you're going, no. No, do not trade him to California. Not the other California teams, no. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen that in a guy's career where they go from one California team to another, but I got to think it'd be the first time I've seen somebody do it who spent 20 years with one team. So we'll see what happens with Marleau, but it does appear that his time in Toronto's come to an end. It makes sense. I mean, they have to keep Marner. They have to keep this team together and be competitive. And while Marleau is still capable of being a leader on and off the ice for over $6 million, you can bring a guy in like a Brad Richardson for cheaper who can still provide you leadership qualities. No, he's not the same as Patrick Marleau, obviously, but you're saving cap, and that's what the Leafs have to be concerned with. I mentioned this in the buyout video yesterday. I thought I'd throw it in here as well. Apparently, the Kings are looking into potentially buying out Dion Phaneuf's contract. I have to say, last season was a miserable year for Dion Phaneuf. Absolutely, I couldn't find a stat that I could look at and say, yep, this is a sign he's going to turn it around. If they buy him out, somebody somewhere will give him an entry-level contract. Or not entry-level, a tryout. So a tryout for league minimum kind of thing. And I wish him the best. I do. He always seems like a nice guy in any interview I've ever seen with him. But he did definitely have a miserable season, and I can understand why LA may be trying to free up some space. I don't think LA is as convinced that it's a rebuild as some Kings fans might be. I think that the guys in charge in LA believe they can turn this around. And if they're buying guys out and trying to get money under the cap, they might be trying to throw more money at it. So we'll see what happens with LA. Vince Dunn is in the lineup tonight for the St. Louis Blues. I'm going to go ahead, and I didn't even read up on it. I'm going to assume that Bortuzzo sits out. But either way, Dunn being back does change that blue line. It's going to give some new energy and a new look that the Bruins aren't used to. So we'll see what happens in that. And I wanted to talk about the Bruins just a bit. There's been a lot of Krug talk. Anybody comparing him to Bobby Orr? This is what drives me nuts. I love Torrey Krug. He's one of my favorite defensemen in the world, and people know that. People who've subscribed to this channel for years know I've talked up Krug a lot. Krug is amazing on the power play. 5-on-5, he pinches a lot. He makes me nervous. If there's a defenseman in Boston that could use a Mark Mathot to play with him, it's Krug. Love the guy. And with that 4 points he had in Game 3, he tied a record in the Stanley Cup Finals with Beliveau, Potvin, and Sakic. But anybody who's making a Bobby Orr comparison other than in the finals, pretty big. That's just crazy. And the fact that Torrey Krug is having a microphone put in his face and being asked about the comparisons between himself and Bobby Orr, dear Lord. That'd be like, going up to somebody going, hey, you got a hat trick tonight. Gretzky had a hat trick. Do you think you're like Gretzky? No. Now, I also want to talk about something else, because it's this weird narrative that's been going on, that somehow Boston's getting this exorbitant amount of power plays compared to everybody else they've played in the playoffs. Not true. They've had 64 power plays so far in the playoffs. They've been shorthanded 61 times. Where it gets different, they have 23 power play goals. They've allowed 8 power play goals when shorthanded. This is why, and I get it, because that's 15 more goals, so it makes it look really bad. But they're killing off the penalties, and they're destroying on the power play. Their power play's clicking at 35% right now. It's really gaudy after that game 3, and their penalty kill is clicking at 86%. So yes, I understand why people are ticked off. Another power play goal, Boston. But really, they aren't getting that many more power plays than their opposition. It's a grand total of 3 through, 20 games? It's just the Bruins are making teams pay. So it really makes those power plays stand out. And, following up, also, Kapanen. Kasperi Kapanen may be available. So, again, with the Leafs trying to keep everything together. And you know what's funny? I have a funny feeling they may be trying to keep around Jake Gardiner. That maybe they're talking to Gardiner and trying to figure out what'll work. I would not be surprised to see Jake Gardiner sign an extension in Toronto, and if they can move Marleau, especially to Arizona, where you have to think Arizona could take that whole $6+ million cap hit, and if they could find a taker for Kapanen's going to get a big raise this summer. He had a very good year, and for Toronto, maybe a little bit too rich for their blood. They've got Bracco and other guys who can come up, and they might say, you know what, we can move on from this, and that way we can afford to spend big money to keep guys around, including Jake Gardiner. Maybe that's where it's headed. Maybe they use Kapanen to try to add some depth to that blue line. You have to think that they're going to be looking at that blue line, but it's that time of year. A lot of Leaf talk, because where I get my news from and the sports channels I watch, there's a lot of Leaf talk at all times, all year round. But there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Could Marleau go into Arizona work? I think so. I think that can work, depending on what Arizona would give up to get him and what extra they might get back. If I'm John Chayka and if I'm doing this to help them out with their cap, well, I'm not doing it for free. I might say, all right, Marleau's nice, but can you throw us a prospect or a draft pick or something? And we'll send you back this player. So we'll see what ends up happening. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.